Alright, looks like we are live. Hi everyone, how you doing? Let's get here on. There we have it. Alright, sorry about last week. Things just got so hot there was no way that I could possibly give you the kind of quality show that you've come to expect and enjoy here every Friday, especially with an AC just blasting through that microphone. Pleased to say, though, that a lot of great stuff has happened this week, and I really can't wait to get to the news here. So, bear with me for a minute here. There we go. Alright, so Paizo and personal news here. Go check out Paizo's blog from last, I want to say Wednesday. Just scroll down until you see this picture here. They had their annual Pride post, and I am pleased to say that I did, in fact, come out as asexual on that blog, which meant a lot to me because it was their blog a couple years ago where Alex Agunas discussed the same topic that got me interested in learning a little bit more about it and about myself. So it meant a lot to me. I'm really appreciative of Paizo's allowing me to write that and reaching out to me like that. It means a lot to me. But I also would like to discuss something I'm a little proud of. I did a blog post 2 Tuesdays ago on Fox's Cunning on No Direction called Take Care Business that I really like. It's just about organizing your campaign like a business. Uses some business models, ideas of franchises and chains, and specifically it's really about how do you want to approach your relationship as a GM with your players and your campaign with your players. How much agency will your players have in the campaign in terms of what NPCs are introduced, how the adventure is going to work out. It gives some examples, and I do believe that setting a roadmap like that in advance will help you kind of keep track and maybe even experiment with your campaign in ways that will be beneficial to both you and your players. So let's go head down to Paizo news. So today it was announced that today or yesterday, we had the last Pathfinder First Edition Additional Resources Sanctioning update. That includes some new campaign clarifications and updates for books such as Chronicles of Legends and Concordance of Rivals. I don't know what else to say. Exemplar traits are now legal in Pathfinder Society, which is awesome because there's some really cool stuff you can do with that, as are many of the upgrades to the classic Player's Handbook Prestige classes. A lot of stuff that actually makes those classes worth looking at again, even though they were the first Prestige classes we ever saw. Plus new capstone stuff, if any of you crazy folks out there are actually playing at level 20, which congratulations if you are. Great. And we have Guns and Gears author list has been announced, and I could actually now say that I was in fact an author for Guns. I am in fact an author for Guns and Gears. Really excited to both see and show off what I worked on. Can't do it now, but after it comes out, I will be sure to be bragging about as much as I can because I am so excited that they reached out to me to be part of this book. Killer book. I hope. Not that I haven't seen it yet, but really excited about it. Love clockwork stuff. Love firearms and fantasy settings. I like the whole thing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm choking up a little just thinking about it. This is something that means a lot to me. Starfinder Species Reforged Kickstarter has ended, over $8,000. So they just blew out as many of the set in stone goals as possible. Love it. Really glad to be a part of that as well. If you didn't see, 2 weeks ago, No Direction had a crash course on Pathfinder history that I'm still going to talk about because if you ever want to know anything about Paizo and Pathfinder in the early days, hey, check it out. It's a really fun stream. Ryan and Param really have a great chemistry together talking about the history of their favorite game, and I just highly recommend it. Now, on to Magic news. 2 weeks, we are going to see Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, the newest Magic the Gathering set. Really amazing spoilers here, even if you aren't to Magic. Man, some of the fun little tabletop game jokes and references in this, and just seeing how they managed to incorporate D&D design in Pathfinder card or in Magic cards. Very exciting news here. I will be opening lots of packs of this, especially in 2 weeks. That is what the show will be focused on. So if you want to see some cool cards from this set, go ahead and tune in 2 weeks. They have D20 rolling as a mechanic. You'll also notice right there where it says trapped, if you roll a 1, they have, I forget what they're called, I want to say ability names. Basically, there are non-keyworded names to help add flavor to an ability. So you lose 3 life. Why are you losing 3 life? Oh, a trap. I get it. Easy to remember. Easy to say to your opponent, oops, I'm trapped. Okay, right, was hit by a trap. And of course, using a D20, there's some controversy as to whether or not enough people will have, Magic players will have non-spin down D20s. Hopefully the pre-release packs, which is what I will be opening in 2 weeks, will in fact come with regular D20s. We'll see. A lot of cards are just classic tropes from fantasy, like you meet in a tavern, choose one, you could form a party or start a brawl. Just love the flavor of this set. I almost feel like my entire cube will eventually become just bogged down with cards from the set, because just the flavor alone is so fun. They even have class cards. They're a type of enchantment that you level up, taking levels in that class to get advantages. Really, really cool there. Excuse me. And they have dungeons. Dungeons start outside of your deck. You choose a dungeon. When you use an ability that says venture into a dungeon, you put the dungeon in your command zone and begin journeying through the dungeon. Whenever you venture through the dungeon, you take another step through. If there's a split, you get to choose where you go. And you get the effect that happens when you enter the dungeon. So Yawning Portal, you gain a life. Dungeon level, you scry. Goblin Bazaar, you get a treasure token. You know, you go through a dungeon. Love these a lot. It's going to be a flavorful, fun little thing. It also gives a lot of neat abilities outside of the color pie, which will probably help lighten Commander quite a bit. Also, there's just a ton of fun references in this. I mean, they made a token for Boo. Misk makes a Boo token. It goes for the eyes. What's not to love about this? Absolutely dying for that. So, the main point, though, of today's stream is not, in fact, news. It is the Pathfinder Magic the Gathering Monster Mash. That is to say, I am going to crack open a pack here. Wrong one. There we go. I am going to crack open one of these packs. If anyone here is watching and wants to see a particular pack, we have got the comedy pack, slightly older pack to the newer sets. We got Jumpstart, where we're guaranteed lots of creatures to choose from. If nobody says anything in about a minute, I'll just go to Jumpstart while I explain what I'm doing. Basically, I'm going to open a pack, I'm going to choose a random creature card from this, and I'm going to make a monster right here on stream. If I can make it in, I don't know, 10 minutes or less, I'll go ahead and open another pack. I like the idea of just being given random elements to make out of monsters. I like cracking packs. Let's see how this works out. Let's see how fast I can make a monster spontaneously, because never really worked well with that. In fact, wait, I have 6 of these. Why don't we just roll a die? That's a good idea. Alright. 2. 1, 2. How about that Allegiance? That was the one. Oh, whatever. If nobody else has anything else to say, we will just try this out. Alright. So I'll start like this. I will switch over to a screen where you can better see the card and see the monster creation. So, we have Faerie Duelist starting off strong. That's a pretty good contender there. I do love Faerie PCs. I love Faerie Rogues. Not as much as Faerie Barbarians, but I do like them. A Wrecker, he's a warrior, he riots, he menaces, he breaks stuff. Okay. Elephant Soldier. Actually not a big fan of the elephant people, gotta admit. Sorry about that. Human Lizard Warrior, kind of a lab experiment gone awry that gets a little bigger. Not as much flavor there to work with, unfortunately. But a Rakdos Roustabout. You got an Ogre Warrior. When he becomes blocked, he deals automatic damage to whatever he was trying to attack. So he flips on through. You know, I think I like that a little bit more than... Oh, wait, but what's this? Homunculus Mutant? Little Flying Homunculus, not really doing it for me. If anyone does want to see one of these more than the other, go ahead and tell me in chat. I'll prioritize that over my own biased desires here. Alright, we got Chillbringer. It is an elemental that freezes somebody. We kind of already have something like that in Bestiary 3, so I don't quite feel like that. We have rhinos. We've all seen rhinos. Ooh, a spirit. Spirit of the Spires. Alright, ooh, but what's this? And Raise Forerunners. Ooh, these are really nice creatures. It would be hard to do these because we'd have to start getting into the troop rules, which, while fun, I don't think I want to try that for my very first stream. Got a foil gate, pretty nice. It's a good card and all, but it really is just a troop of boars. You could just take boars, extrapolate them to the troop rules. It's a troop of boars. I mean, I guess it makes everyone else trample as well, so it could be boars plus a crowd of people or something. There's things you could do with that, but I'm just not as inspired as I am with a Faerie Duelist or a Rakdos Roundabout. Let's go ahead and do a Faerie Duelist. I like Fae a lot. Hi, Katie. Alright. So, Faerie Duelist. Let me get this set up. Faerie Duelist. Alright. Alright, we are not doing Acid Spewing Dragon, we are doing Faerie Duelist. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and look at the base roadmaps here for monster creation in Pathfinder 2. I think it's pretty obvious that a Faerie Duelist is going to be a skirmisher. That's a high dex modifier, low fortitude, high reflex, higher speed than typical. Great. Faerie Duelist doesn't look that big of a challenger. We're just going to give it challenge rating. Man, I'm just gonna make it a second level. I'm gonna go by casting cost. Yeah, sure, I'm gonna make it a second level monster. So let's see here. This is our Faerie Duelist. It is a level 2 monster. Let's make this. What's the flavor text say here? Fairies are easily offended and quick to exact a quirky revenge. That sounds chaotic neutral to me, doesn't it? So let's go ahead with chaotic neutral. Fairies are tiny. I like tiny better than small for fairies. Fae with the Alright, so we're gonna make this a tiny Fae. For traits, we don't really need anything there. So we have common, we have Sylvan for languages, like all fairies do. Oh, Katie's still at work. They're working her like crazy. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Katie. Well, if you had a little Faerie Duelist, they could run off and do work for her. Well, they'd probably end up stabbing you with a rapier, and that wouldn't be any good. Probably don't want that then, huh? Well, senses. Alright, I'm gonna have to open up one little window here very shortly. Alright. We're going to head over to the Faerie just for a second to check out what senses fairies have, because for the life of me right now, I can't remember. And it does say in all these books, if you don't know what to do for a monster, you should look at pre-existing monsters to double check. So we're going to look at the sprite. Alright, low light vision. There we go. For some reason I thought they had dark vision, but they don't, which is fine. This does look like a sprite, so you know what? We're going to give this the sprite trait as well. This is our Faerie Duelist sprite. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright, so we definitely got to give this a high dexterity modifier, right? So high dex, low strength. In fact, let's go for terrible strength, because this thing is bad. That would be a -3 strength modifier as the sprite. But it does have high dex, so let's give this thing a +4. It will be attacking with dex since it's using that tiny little rapier, but as you'll soon see, it is not necessarily doing that for damage. It will have some low constitution, just a +1. It's higher than the sprite because it does get into melee combat a little bit there. And the intelligence will actually be pretty low. Let's give it a -1. Again, a little smarter than a sprite, because it does live in a city there. It is a duelist, so it does have some classic dueling skills, which, you know, as we know from first edition, means 13 intellect on top of other. Wisdom, let's just go for a +0, just a baseline. It's as wise as any other sprite. That's not that wise. Charisma, let's only go for a +1. The sprite usually has +2, but this person isn't casting any spells. They don't like being offended at all, but they're the type who don't have enough presence that they need to use their rapier to really get in there. You know what I mean? Alright, so for AC, we're going to give you moderate AC. We'll give you 17. That seems good for me. I think we'll give it a little higher. Just a little. Yeah, 18 is high. No, this is a skirmisher. Let's just give it moderate. So, we're going to give it 17 AC. We're going to give it low fort, as the guide tells us to. High reflex, and skirmisher. Let's give it moderate. Let's give it low will. He doesn't. He's easy to aggravate. He's easy to intimidate. He's easy to demoralize. He's just a wee little skirmisher trying to do his best. Moderate AC seems fine for him. That would be, I'm going to give him 29 AC, a little bit higher than moderate, literally one higher than moderate. The is a sprite, so we're going to give him a weakness to cold iron. Let's just give him 3. Because, again, he does stay into melee combat. It could go as high as 5 for a level 2 monster, but we do want him to survive maybe 3 hits before he's taken out. Although that isn't what he normally tries to do. So let's give him a couple decent skills here. We definitely got to give him acrobatics because he is nimbly bimbly. So let's give him a +8. Not extremely high, but you know, not that low either. We should probably give him a stealth just because he is so tiny. But I think I want it a little lower than the acro. Let's not give him a... Yeah, I should give him a stealth just in case the GM wants to use him for stealth. But mostly, I really want to give this an intimidation. It's not going to be too high just because of that low charisma, but it's going to be as high as the stealth. Is there anything else here? Oh, and I got to give him deception for reasons I will get to soon, because a duelist is all about feinting. Hands down, duelist gotta feint. For items, let's give him a rapier. It is so tempting to give him a cold iron rapier, but no, he's not dueling Fae. He's dueling humans. So definitely a non-cold iron rapier. For speed, he will have only 10-foot fly speed, but a 10-foot ground speed, but a fly speed of 40. So you will be able to get in and out of there very, very, very quickly. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And no spells. I have a long-range tradition with my fairies. When I have a martial fairy, they're that way because they couldn't really cast spells. I gotta give them dancing lights. I gotta say they could use dancing lights. Otherwise, they can come into a situation where that low light vision will just not do. And we don't want that to happen. We do not want that to happen at all. Monsters not being able to see, creatures not being able to see is no good. No good at all. Alright, so let's think of special abilities here. Alright, so I love the idea of Duelist being able to feint. The original card itself, Flash, means you can play it as instant whenever you want. Comes out and surprises people, which is why I do like that stealth being there. Flying means they fly. When it enters the battlefield, though, an opponent gets -2/-0. I think that's best shown in the basic kind of ambush ability of the rogue that you see on quite a few monsters. So that ability itself is worded particularly easily. It is deny advantage, surprise attack. Alright, so surprise attack. This has no actions. It is offense, sure. No traits. Alright, you spring into combat faster than... Alright, on the first round of combat, the Faerie Duelist... If the Faerie Duelist rolls Deception or... You know what? Stealth or Acrobatics, because he looks like he's flying in through a window there. And, should I do Intimidate? That seems weird. Let's thinking for a second. He's a duelist. He's not really deceiving. He's not stealthing. Okay, yeah. Let's do deception for fainting. Intimidation for being an angry little fairy. Or acrobatics, which isn't exactly a surprise attack. So let's call this a different ability. Let's call this Quirky Revenge. No, that should be the name of a counter that it has, and we'll do that a little bit later. Let's think. Exacting surprise attack. Surprise. Bitter surprise. I like that. So in the first round of combat, if the Fairy Duelist rolls Deception, Intimidate, or Acrobatics, which seems like a lot, but you're only going to do one or the other or the other or the other. I mean, come on. For Initiative, creatures that haven't acted are flat-footed to the Fairy Duelist. Excellent, excellent. Alright, now I want it to be able to make people... Let's just go ahead and do a... are flat-footed to the Fairy Duelist until the end of their turn. The difference there is, normally with surprise attack, you're only flat-footed until you get to act. This goes a little bit longer. This goes until the end of your turn. The important difference here is this will allow the Fairy Duelist to like riposte or attack back or whatever, and the opponent's still considered flat-footed. And we're going to add one more little thing here, which is going to be Fae Skirmisher. This is a defensive trait that is going to flat-footed opponents. I don't like saying just you get a -2. It should be a condition. It should be clumsy? Yes. Yeah, I like that. Okay, opponents are clumsy. Flat-footed opponents are clumsy while adjacent to the Fairy Duelist. There we go. This will make enemies clumsy too. This will make enemies effectively have a -2 while they're trying to melee with Fairy Duelist. There's a lot of ways around this. You could step back and pull out a ranged weapon, but this will give the Fairy Duelist some good survivability. In fact, I am tempted now to make this a 3rd level creature with something like that. But that will have to adjust all the other ability scores. So we're just going to give it one little... You know what? I'm going to call that Quirky Revenge. And we'll be done. Nah, that's lazy. One more ability, Quirky Revenge. Because you could have a lot of abilities on a low-level creature as long as together they don't do too much. I mean, Bitter Surprise basically is, hey, it can make enemies flat-footed if it goes first, which, okay. Fae Skirmisher, the Clumsy 2 thing, there's a lot of ways around that. It will only affect melee characters and only if they want to stay in melee with this thing and they're flat-footed. So there's multiple ways around that. Let me make sure this is all coming up on my feed. It is great. And now, Quirky Revenge, we do need an offensive reaction because this is a duelist, and the flavor text does mention having a Quirky Revenge, being quick to exact a Quirky Revenge. So I like the idea that it can make someone flat-footed who tries to attack him. It's not damage, so it's not that good, but it's something. It's pretty good, and it will punish people who just want to go in head-first melee with a Fairy Duelist. So I imagine this is the type of monster you'll want to use in an urban setting to... try to bait the enemy into attacking. Bait the PCs into attacking your creature. It will come out, it will literally just be like, challenge me. And it has all these advantages while it's in a challenge, a melee challenge. So, not bad. So Quirky Revenge, how will we word this? First thing you do when you're looking up an ability, first thing I like to do when looking up an ability is simply look up similar abilities. So, a reaction feint action would be something like, I want to say, deny support, grovel, twin distraction, or stumbling stance, distracting feint, I believe, is like that. Your feints, no, it's not. Deny support. Alright, let's just do this like, oh, there we go. So, a reaction has... Sorry about this, 1 second more. Distracting, faint, clumsy. Alright. Imagine the more I do this kind of a stream, the better I'll get at it, and the more things I'll be able to do. Alright. So, requirements. Adjacent to target. Trigger. A creature targets you with an attack, and you can see the attacker. Oh, let's put these on different lines, shall we? There we go. Alright. Boo, 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 boo. You, pretend to parry an opponent's attack to put them off guard. Should he just feint or just make them flat-footed? Is it too bad to just make someone flat-footed whenever they attack you? I think it could be. Let's have him feint with a... I don't like doing d20 rolls on other players' turns. It really slows down the combat, especially when they say, I make an attack. Oh, let me do a roll. The target becomes flat-footed until the end of their next turn. There we go. This is our Faerie Duelist. Wow. So I was able to make that in, took about 15 minutes. So I won't have time to make another, but I hopefully, if people like this enough and I get good enough reactions to this on Discord or this chat or elsewhere, I would be more than happy to do this again because this was really fun. There's some more prep work I could go into doing this. I will go ahead and post this creature on my social media feeds. And feel free to comment. Once again, thank you everybody who has shown up to watch me this week. I am really proud to have come out on that Paizo blog, so go ahead and check out Paizo's Pride post. Like I said before, that means a lot to me, as you can imagine. I am overwhelmed, overjoyed to be here with everyone and to be doing all this with everyone. Let me go back here to my splash focus, slide focus. Goodbye, lumens. Hello, splash. To follow up, next week I'm opening up a brick of Pathfinder Battles minis. Alright. So that's the first. I kind of see it as one of the big step up in the Paizo WizKids pre-painted miniatures, as they have clear bases, and the quality has really impressed me with the couple minis I have found thus so far. From that set. We will go ahead and discuss Pathfinder news as we open the minis. I'll be using this document camera here to show them off like I do when I open my booster packs. And then Friday, on the 16th, I will be opening some Adventures in Forgotten Realms, talking about more news, talking about the newest Magic the Gathering set. If people like this enough, I would be happy to go ahead and try to make some... it'd be a little too easy to probably make some D&D monsters on stream, but at the same time, that's part of the challenge, isn't it? So once again, glad to see you all. Thank you for showing up to the stream. I'm going to go see if we can kill Denathrius, because this is the last week we could attempt that, given Chains of Domination has just started. So thank you all again. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.